Good morning. Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
Baruch Hashem.
Oh, I missed you. How did the audit go and everything else last week?
Well, we had two things. Obviously, we spent 2 days at JNF.
Right.
So there, breaking down the $120 million that were collected last year. And let me tell you, what I was very, very surprised, which is very interesting, less than 2% bad debt.
That is tremendous. Not
Fully
intremendous.
audited. Fully audited.
No, I understand it. What a chiddush. By the way, when you break down to your JNF, are you still with the basic rule 95-5, that 95% of the money is coming from 5% of the donors? Or is that
No,
shrunk? Or is that
no,
shrunk?
no, it's different. 50%, 60% are coming from major donors. That's 10,000 and above.
Right.
Okay. Then you've got the other about another 40%, 35% from 0 to 1,000.
Okay.
Okay, those are the people buying a tree or the people buying
Right.
individual things
Yeah,
up to a
I got it.
thousand. And
Right.
and the other is from the 1,000 to 10,000. So about
I have
20%
to
is
tell
a
you that is
thousand to 10,000.
Jerry, that is an
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
healthy percentage
Well,
because
they like
that
to,
is not the normal for the places that are collecting that kind of money on a yearly basis.
did I discuss with you that what the bottom line is that goes 100% to tzedakah? I'm talking about after total expenses,
No, how much?
85%.
That's amazing too.
It is the only Jewish organization that I know. And I'm talking about Federation doesn't have that because their salaries are very, very high and their expenses are very, very high. Okay. United Way, 50% is expenses. Okay, these are major organizations,
Yep.
and not only that, most of the money is matched by Israeli funds.
Right. Not here. Oh, your money. Your money
Whatever
is
money is here. So when you go in to do a medical center, and the medical center is going to
right.
cost $10 million, you go after Magen David or you go after some of the other operators, and they basically say, okay, we're putting up 5 million. You put up 5 million. They might say we'll put up 4 million, whatever it is. So that $130 million converts to, you've got to take 85% of that. It's about $100 million. You have $200 million in potential things going on a year in value.
Amazing. I have to tell you something. That 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 your major donor profile is only 60% is a tremendous balance. I don't know if you even appreciate, because I'm telling you that most places, it truly is a rule. It's not even the 80-20 rule. It's the 95-5%. 95% of your money is coming from 5% of your donor. And those 5% donors have such power on the most organizations because they're the funding vehicle. Here, you have the ability to run a business the correct way without great overhead, partly because you don't have any one donor that's so powerful that they can call the
Now,
shot.
the model is a very simple model. We, like myself, we are
Right?
not partners, we are ambassadors. So, under my little portfolio of people that we bring on board, there's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So now you take all these ambassadors across the United States. You're talking about if each one is doing $100,000 of friends and acquaintances and people you're called ambassadors. And we don't get salaries. We get nothing.
Right.
We get nothing.
Right. It's the Rabban Shalom Mishalom Sechara. That's
Right.
it's an amazing thing. Give me one
The
second.
big
I'm calling my father so we can get started over here. Hang on 1 second. Jerry is still there. Don't worry about it. Jack, give me a second. Jack will call you around 10:30. Second. Let me call my. Give me a second. What meeting was last night? Oh, I forgot all about it. Of the membership? Yes. What are they up to? Remember I told you, Jerry, there was a sneaky meeting that was going on at the Boca Grove on August 23rd. They sent out one email about what do you call it, to discuss what's going on and potential changes. So what do you think is going on?
Now they're going to say a lawyer involved, and they told Jennifer apologized. My wife said Jennifer apologized.
hello, speak up. I can't hear you. Very muffled.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Jennifer showed up too, and where she had recruited these people, now she said, "I'm sorry, you can't go into the meeting." Why? Because there was a lawyer who was also a lawyer for the board, and they did not want to discuss that type of privy information.
What privy information?
Well, that's what we don't know because it was privy. Yeah, you're right. People said that, but they didn't want to discuss it. So the people were very nicely asked to just go home and let the board do what it's got to do.
What was the subject?
Don't know. We don't know. Whatever was the subject, it required the expertise of an attorney, an attorney for the board. Who knows what they're doing?
I have to tell you something. Do you remember, Jerry, the last time they tried to they do changes, for the benefit of the membership?
Yeah.
And it turned out it wasn't beneficial at all.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned.
Some people are concerned. George speaking, Rabbi.
I have to tell you something. I'm doing what I call it. It's something we have to keep a close eye on. I'm going to send out a little. You should send out on the chat a little blurb that just say, does anybody know about the meeting that happened last night that didn't happen?
Your wife wasn't a meeting, so she didn't. They wouldn't let her in either. Your wife.
I think about the thing too. I think,
Let me get Jerry back to it. Yeah, very much. The president.
The people there who are absolutely antagonistic, bitterly antagonistic to the religious.
Oh, the religious, yeah. But that's the membership. They refer to
This refers to us as
them
adjective
as them.
So the first word, I don't want to help you. Last night,
But
my wife is very interested.
I actually said that last night.
Those are people that I know.
Except the problem is that we're close to 200 families. And that's exactly what I think they're trying to sneak in. They're trying to sneak in. Jerry, they're probably trying to sneak in anti-thing. I am, after we're finished over here, I'm just going to say, Can anybody can anybody let me know, does anybody have any insight into what happened last night at the meeting? Doesn't matter, but let me throw it out there. The younger guys have got to be on top of it. I don't know if Shav is or isn't, but I'm gonna find out.
But what was the subject of the meeting?
The subject of the meeting was in running general policies and possible changes. Possible changes. And that was one email. Go back to your emails. You'll see it in there. Back like 2-3 weeks ago. And then there was nothing. Then it was silence. Yeah, but the reality is that the only ones buying houses here are the Orthodox Jews. Oh,
As far as I know, what she invited was that's the decision.
all right, don't bring this up, my father. Yeah. Yeah.
For the non-religious Jews to come and listen to shofar blowing.
Of course, I would.
That obligated.
I had actually a few years when I was here, said good morning, said to Jennifer Jolly, I believe it was at the time, not that she understood me. I said, would you like to set up a play in front of my house? I'll blow shofar for those in the afternoon. Yeah, I don't know what they do. Yeah. I don't know about that. I didn't think they were going to come to the shul. No one's going to stop them from coming to the shul. Yeah. Okay. But that's how Jeff started. Saying Kaddish is a gateway. So, it is a gateway. 100%. All right. Let's get started. Yeah, that's a good point. You heard what David said? Make sure they know not to come on Shabbos, only Sunday. We're not blowing shofar on Shabbos. Anyways, let's get started. We're behind on Hey Amid Aleph, 5A3. We are up to Amar Rav Huna, literally the bottom of 5A3. Okay? We are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines from the bottom on Hey Amid Aleph. And here we go. Amar Rav Huna. Now remember, we have for years now been talking about only two things. Erusin, the first step, Kiddush, which is also called Kiddushin, and Nisuin, right? 2 steps. We're now introducing a third step, something called chuppah. We've been saying chuppah essentially is the tunnel, is the bridge. Between it gets you from Erusin to Nisuin. No. Kiddushin and Erusin are the same thing. Nisuin is Nisuin. What chuppah is exactly is this very opaque thing that is best explained as the bridge that takes her out of her father's jurisdiction completely, where she still remained while she's in the Erusin state, and is the bridge that brings her under the roof of her husband completely into the Nisuin state. Okay, that's the best way to explain something that is remarkably opaque, what exactly it is. So now let's see, but now not everybody agrees with what I just said. So let's see. Amar Rav Huna, chuppah koina mikabel koina. We can say that a chuppah acquires, besides having the ability to bring about Nisuin, to be the bridge, Rav Huna wants to say that chuppah itself can also affect, Which piece? Kiddushin, the first step. You hear? We're now on 584. 584. Huna wants to argue. Not only is it a bridge to take you from Erisin to the Nisuin, but you can even go ahead and actually start the whole process of Kiddushin, Erisin, with Chuppah. Okay? And the Gemara explains this Kalvachayim. Uma kesef she'ena meichel betruma, just as giving money for the sake of Kiddushin, which does not enable a woman to eat truma. Because as long as she's still attached to her father's home, she's not said to be completely under the auspices of her husband, her new husband, the Kayin, so she cannot eat truma. Nonetheless, midrabanan, right? Thank you, Daddy. Midrabanan, right? The midia raisa, since Erison turns her into an Ashes Ish, a fully married woman, albeit still under her father's jurisdiction, midia raisa, she could certainly eat truma. We're talking about midrabanan. We don't, for the problem of Ula. If you remember, Ula is going to tell us very shortly that since she's still living in her father's home, when she goes to visit her new husband's home, she's going to take back a doggy bag of truma fruit, and she's going to bring it home, and she's going to, by accident, share it with her father and her brother and her sister, which are not kahanim. They're not married, and they're not allowed to eat that. So the Rabbanan said, as long as you're still hanging out in your father's house, you can't eat truma. Okay, so ma kesef she'ena meichel truma, just like money, which facilitates the beginning of the process, i.e., Kiddushin Erisin, does not allow her midrabanan to eat truma. Kaina nonetheless betroths her, nonetheless has the power to create the first step of marriage. Chuppah shemacheles betruma, chuppah, which does have the power to enable a woman to eat truma. Because what is chuppah? Bringing this woman under my roof, completely under my roof. Einay din shetikno, certainly should have the power to acquire her for the first step of marriage. To which the Gemara right away says, wait a minute. The kesef einay machel. If number one, let's first ask our first question. Does money really, by bringing her into marriage, into Kiddushin, does money still not allow her to eat truma? Says the Gemara, Devar Ula, Devar Torah, under Torah law, Arusa Basisol Lecheles Truma, a regular Jewish girl that gets engaged to a Kohen is allowed to eat truma. Shenema v'koyin ki yikta nefesh kinyan kasboy, and a koyin who shall require a person an acquisition of his money, he shall eat it. Uma kinyan kasboyu, right? And this woman is an acquisition of his money because through the giving from the koyin to the woman the money, he acquires her in marriage. So why do the Rabbanon, the rabbis, say she can't eat? What we talked about just 2 minutes ago. Because perhaps she will pour a cup of truma while she's in his father's home from a wine that she brought when she visited her future in-laws. She'll give it to her brothers and sisters who are not got it. But that means it's only rabbinical that she can't. Under biblical law, the Kiddushin empowers her to eat truma. There goes his kal v'chayma. Something Gemara ela parachachi. Here you have to. This is the kal v'chayma. Uma kesef she'ena goyme koina. Money that does not complete full-fledged marriage. Right? It doesn't affect nisuin, the full-fledged marriage. Nonetheless, affects the first step of marriage. The first step of marriage, Kiddushin. We're now on Hayom days. the IB1, chuppah shegoymeres, chuppah that does complete marriage. Chuppah is the bridge from Eris and Kiddushin to Nisuin. Eino din shetikna is not logical that it affects the regular Kiddushin, affects creating Erison. Says the Gemara, we're on Kehei Amid Beis. Says Gemara, no comparison. Kesef is more powerful because it has the ability to allow you to redeem those grains and your produce that you're supposed to bring to Jerusalem to eat. You're allowed to redeem them onto the money. And you can bring the money to Jerusalem to eat and purchase it over there. Nothing else has that power. Zok the Gemara, Kiddushin that's affected, right, is you can see, is affected by cohabitation. Cohabitation doesn't have the power to unsanctify stuff, obviously. So chuppah's inability to redeem has nothing to do with its power of making Kiddushin. Zok the Gemara, Umalabiyah, she can kind of be a Yavama. How could you compare that? It's unique because a Yavama is only kind of the woman through cohabitation. Remember, she falls automatically to him when the brother dies without children, and the kinyan is through Yibum is through Bia. So you see, it's powerful. It has a uniqueness. Zok Gemara, Kesef Yechiach. Money will prove it to you. Because money, you cannot acquire a woman in Yibum through money. Yet Kesef has the power to redeem. So you notice we're going in a circle. Says the Gemara, V'chazar adin. So now we're going around in a circle. Right? Says the Gemara, Loi grizer grizer, Loi grizer grizer. When we have this circular firing squad, the circular reasoning going on, where each time, each piece has a certain power that the other pieces don't have, but each piece has a weakness that the other ones don't have, right? So we're going around in circles. We look, therefore, and we say, Hatzara Shova Shaben. We look for the common denominator for a characteristic that's in all of them. And what is that? The Koinenkan. And each one acquires here, in the case of Kiddushin, Kesef, Shtar, Bia, Afani Evi Chuppah. By this I can bring Chuppah in as well. Shekoina Ba'alma, for it acquires elsewhere. It acquires, where does it acquire? It allows it to become a complete marriage into Nisuin, right? The basic thing. The Koina Khan, therefore, over here too, to create the first step of marriage, Chuppah will operate as well. Go ahead, Ben.
Money.
Yeah.
How is that transfer actually done? Is there a kinyan involved?
Sure.
Who gets the money? Does someone give the money to somebody? How does that work?
Basically, the husband, the incoming husband, hands money to the girl.
To the girl.
Don't you do that in every marriage that we do?
Yeah.
What's the ring?
girl do? She
What's
gives
the
back-
ring? No.
It's hers.
Don't you know?
Yeah, finger. Right.
What's going on that finger?
The ring?
What's the ring? What is the ring?
Acquisition.
No, the ring is money.
Already.
Okay, so it's really not money that they're whatever. The ring is
It's money. It's a value.
about
Shava kesef. Shava kesef. But you could do cash. You are really doing cash. You're just doing it with a commodity that's valued in cash. But you are. Exactly. Now, what was your question? Yeah.
A question. If she cannot eat the true animal from the Kohen because
Because she's only engaged.
Why can't they pay for the Kohen true wine kesef?
What can they?
You can't. You can't. Good question. So-
If they cannot eat, her brothers and everybody cannot eat the truma because she's a Kohen, they're not
Because
allowed
the
to eat
brother-in-law is a Cohen.
It is bought with money. They can say, okay, we'll give money towards.
So let me answer the question.
We can eat the food.
The answer is Maisa Sheni. Ma'aser Sheni is kachim kalim. Weaker kachim. Weaker kodesh. Kachim kalim can be redeemed onto money. Just like in the Beis Hamikdash itself, things that are kachim kalim or kedushas domim, or are sanctified in their value, not in kedushas haguf, not in their actual essence. Okay, so anything that is sanctified in its value, you can redeem with money. We do it all the time. Remember, they say you purchase, you switch the animal and all that. But then there are things that are intrinsically holy, kedushas aguf or kache kachim, that cannot be sanctified, that cannot be redeemed. Teruma is kaidish kadosh.
And if somebody did eat that food from and it wasn't supposed to, then what?
Chayav misa.
Chayav misa.
Chayav misa, because it's the Rabbanish Suggs.
Chayav misa.
It's God's food. She allowed the God to eat. Exactly. But the question's a very good question. Fundamentally, as is always the case, the world moves around Gavra and Chefza. When it's in you, it's something more. When it's in the Chefza, in the thing, meaning in its value, it's got a different connotation. The question is a good question. You have to, and as we move along, if I don't explain that, because I'm taking it for granted, make sure that I explain that. Very absolutely vital that everybody understand that. Okay? The question that David asked was a great question. On the page, we say that Kesef had the power to redeem Ma'aser Sheni, right? Kedushas, sanctified stuff, consecrated items, and Ma'aser Sheni. Why can't they redeem Truma? The answer is there's a fundamental difference. Right. We know that. Why not? Thank you. That's what I just explained. Therein lies the difference. We have to understand it. A certain types of carbons. A shlomim, well, let's go to this. A shlomim or a toida that are kachim kalim, you could redeem for something else. If it gets a mum, if it gets a blemish, to do. A chatas or an oila have to be left to graze and die. Why? Because you can't redeem. Literally. That's same, very good. No, but the question is a fundamental question. Absolutely. I didn't even think, right, but okay, everybody on this, you understand what was just said, Ben? This is very important. That things could look the same, but fundamentally they're different. The Kedushas HaGuf, sanctified intrinsically in the thing, as opposed to Kedushas Domim, like monetary sanctification. Monetary sanctification means it's not in the thing, it's in its value. So if I can't use this, I'll redeem it for its value because I still can retain the value. You see the fundamental difference? Which is really the difference whenever I use the words Gavra and Chefza. Gavra means the person. The Chefza is merely the thing. The thing is always in its value, not in its intrinsic self. Chefetz, right, but when we talk, it's an object. The object is it or its value. You, the Gavra, no. You're intrinsically the. So I'll give you an example. Ben, we've talked about this before, then we'll move on. If a person says the upcoming sleep is forbidden, he did nothing, because sleep doesn't exist. Sleep is merely the absence of being awake. But if he says, if Ruvain says, I am forbidden to the upcoming sleep, that's it. He blew it. He has to bring a carbon. You know why? because he exists and he forbade himself. Now that's something else. That's Gavra. I is a Gavra. The sleep is the Chepsa. Okay? That's the fundamental difference, which, by the way, is the basic, the most simple explanation, the difference between a neder, a promise, and a shvua, and a vow. A neder is in the thing. A shavua is in you. Exactly. We've been playing around with this idea for 5 seconds in a row. But here you pointed out, here is another application of the idea. Kodshim Kalin, a Shlomim, or Maisa Sheni could be redeemed unto money. Teruma, which is Kodshim in itself, cannot.
You have a separate title. You have the cover of the mouth. The same title is intrinsically good. You cannot redeem it. You cannot say, let that money be instead of that same title. But you could redeem the mantle.
In fact, to take my father's point a little further, there's something called tashmish the tashmish. Zarki. Tashmish is, in other words, if a mantle of an Sefer Torah gets worn out, can you simply throw it out, or do you have to bury it? You have to put it into shemus. The answer is you have to put it into shemus. Why? Because it's a tashmish to kedusha. It is protecting the actual kedusha. Here's the question: the Aron Kodesh, the ark, the box. If that gets broken, can you simply throw it out or not? That's more questionable, because that's tashmish, the tashmish. You know where the question comes out? If you have a bookshelf. Everybody look at the bookshelf. Everybody see? There's svarim inside the bookshelf. So the svarim are holy, right? The bookshelf is protecting, right? Is being used as a tashmish for the svarim. That would normally mean, therefore, you cannot simply throw out the bookshelf. You have to think. However, and therefore, the bookshelf is a tashmish to kedusha, and if you need to get rid of it, you have to burn it or you have to bury it. However, there's an argument to be made. That's not true. No. It's tashmish, but no, that's not the reason. Here's the question. This is holy, everybody. The cover is the tashmish, and the covers are sitting in the shrank, in the bookshelf. So the covers are the tashmish l'kedusha. The bookshelf is a tashmish l'tashmish, and therefore you are allowed to throw away the bookshelf if you have to. That is a major argument in the place. Let the thing. Yeah, hear that? Is that? Yeah, without it coming, that becomes a problem. That is a problem according to everybody. But if it has a cover, and that is why our covers, if you notice, are always slightly larger than the actual book. You know why? Because when you put it down, you're not actually putting. You're not the table. The table is a tashmish to tashmish. That's what I just said. That becomes a question. That's the real question, because the atzei chayim, that's the sticks, they're a tashmish to the Sefer Torah, right? The parchment is holy. The sticks are a tashmish to the whole thing. The mantle is also on the Sefer Torah. But when you put the Sefer Torah into the box, into the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark, right? It's sitting in the thing. And by the way, you know where you see that? Because you do know that we use the bottom part of an ark. What do we put in there? We put the silver in there. We put other stuff. How are you allowed to do that? How are you allowed to do that?
The olden times they used to put the grains.
Grains into the thing.
Into the oven coin.
You know why? Because it's only a tashmish to tashmish. There you go. Anyways, but that shows you that there are different levels of holiness. and they have a
So
kid.
the Aron Kodesh, the Aron Kodesh, bottom line, what has to be done with it if you break it apart?
If you break it apart, you have to consult your local rabbi. But theoretically, you can make an argument that you could throw it away. Aron Kodesh, just like here, this is holy. The the covers are a protection to the holy. It's tashmish, but the bookshelf is only a protection for the covers.
So very interesting.
But that might not be. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
the Lubavitcher Rebbe's desk was made from an Aron Kodesh that was taken apart.
Wow.
And you know what happened with that desk afterwards?
It's still being used?
It was made as an Aron that was buried in.
Really? Wow. An Aron that the Rebbe was buried in. That, you know why that is? Because there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, lucky is the man who can carry his Torah with him, right? Meaning to the world to come. My cousin, my uncle wrote a sefer. What was the name of Uncle Mordechai's sefer? Mitzvah Shalema. My cousin Zevi, when his father passed away, when they put his father into the Aron, he took out of the bag. He had taken the sefer, he had taped it all the way up, and he put it into the Aron with his father. He said, because you should take your Torah with you.
Oh, so then you should put my sefer Torah in.
And well, we don't put sefer Torah because that's a living thing. Anyways, let's go further, everybody. Yeah, so the question is, what did they do with it? I don't know. I'm just saying. You probably do something or another. But I'm just saying, you can say, I'm not a Paisik in any which way. Please, I'm not a rabbi. But the point is, you get the thing. Oh, give me 1 second, everybody getting a call to sing on. Any question you may? Give me a second. Okay, back to Agbar Chuppah. Go ahead. Very good question. Very good question.
He said it's really not.
Let me repeat. Let me keep repeating exactly what I'm saying. The question is better than the answer.
Okay, so we're gonna get an answer.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Chuppah it's very opaque. Where did it exactly come from? Let me put it
The Hindus.
Well, I can tell you where a mocking for us is. Eliezer brings Rivka to Yitzchak, and he says he took her into his tent and she became his wife. Right there, you learn from that. The reason why I bring that shidduch, because we learn many different things. Number one, when a Jewish girl gets engaged, she gets jewelry. How do we know this? Because Magdonas Eliezer's presents, he gave her presents. Number two, how do we know that you have to ask a girl permission to get married? She can't be married against her will, because the Lavan asked Rivka, do you want to go with these guys? And she said yes. And the Torah brings all of this down. And then you see it says the words that Yitzchak used. He brought her to the tent of his mother and he married her. And he loved her. When did he love her? When he brought her into the house. The Sheva Brachas from there too. It's all, you read seven Lashonos of blessings. But believe it or not, that Sheva Brachas comes from Lavan. But everything about marriage that we do, there is a reason why the marriage of Yitzchak and Rivka is detailed to the extreme, because that is the marriage upon which everything else is copied on. Okay, let's keep going. So let's keep going over here. So now You notice we did this circular reasoning, each one having an advantage, a disadvantage. We found the common characteristic. We're now gonna do this over and over and over again. We're gonna fly right down in the next 5 minutes. We're gonna do half the. Here we go. What comparison can be made to money and cohabitation that have unbelievably great benefit? Okay, money you benefit from, and sex you benefit from. By the way, from here you learn something remarkable, which comes up. Chazal knew that women enjoy tashmish. The Goyish world did not come to that conclusion until the late 1800s. The Torah takes it for granted that, of course, women have pleasure. And as we will see later on, the great Rav Chisda had great daughters. His daughters all married the Gedolei Adar. They were very similar to the Kruger girls. Remember the Kruger girls? One married Rav Dunstaferov, one married Rav Biddesfeld, one married the Strasburger Rov, one married Rav Kiva Ehrenfeld. All the Oberlander Rabbanim were married to one set of girls, right? The Kruger girls, famously, right? So back in the time of the Gemara's, Rav Chisda's daughters were all married to the Stoilim, and Rav Chisda, for lack of a better word, just to keep it modern, is the sex educator of Shas, because it's meant to be love. Okay? You have to always remember that. It's meant to be love, and it's demanded of us. Okay? As we're going to find out. So it's malat tzad shav shabem sheina nos meruba. So the Gemara the star makes Kiddushin, right? A document makes Kiddushin, and there's no basic pleasure. It's just a document. So Zakti Gemara Malish Tash Kemitzida Babas Yisrael. Well, star is powerful. It's the only instrument that could create Kiddushin. Divorce. Yeah. There are no dumb questions. The only dumb question, Mr. Warman, is the one that you don't ask.
What's the agenda? What? Because I thought have their own
Yes, so they're trying to show no, because we're trying to get back to chuppah. We all know that chuppah can facilitate nisuin. Can it facilitate the first step of eris?
So we're trying to see because it's not a show.
So all of them, and then apply that to chuppah. Exactly. And each one is unique in its strengths, unique in its weakness. Look for the common denominator. Can I apply that to chuppah as well? Let's keep going. So, and you're going to see, we're going to keep going around in this, like I said, circular firing squad. Yeah, no, that's good. You called us back to where are we going with this Gemara? The method of cohabitation will demonstrate that even though money and cohabitation cannot facilitate divorce, they still can facilitate acquisition into marriage. The Chazar Adin. So now we're going back again. But this one has this strength, this one has that strength, this one gives benefit, this one can redeem, babu, baba, papa. Right? So now they're shooting bullets all at each other. That each one has the capacity of affecting a transaction other than Kiddushin. Money and documents could acquire a shivcha ibris, a Hebrew maidservant, while Bia does yibum. So each one has a certain strength. But the Kainin Khan, and they acquire over here 5b2. I will now, Rabavi Warman, now you're getting back to what we were coming at. By here I will bring the idea of chuppah, right, as one of the ways that a woman can become engaged. It also acquires elsewhere. Where's elsewhere, Rabbi Avi? No, yeah, it makes the suin, right? The kind of can, if it can make the suin, right? It can make what do you call it? It can make erison. Zakti Gemara, no. They have one other thing. They can all work against the will of one of the parties. Cohabitation forces yibum, even if the Yavama doesn't want to do it, right? The giving of a document, minat Torah, you could divorce without the woman's permission. And money, the father can marry off his minor daughter. Please tell me where chuppah could do any of this. It just fell apart, right? So Zakti Gemara, how would Rav Huna? So it's not a Shabbos. It's not a Shabbos. So now I have no proof that chuppah has the power to facilitate the first step of marriage, Kiddushin. So Rav Huna will say, Kesef Mia Beishus Layashka Bakarcha. With regard to matrimonial law, money doesn't work, because what do we say about money? That the father can marry the minor off. But that is not a real marriage, because she gets older, she can walk away. Wait. Hold the thought.
Wait a minute, she cannot walk away. She has to have a get.
Okay, yes, but she could force the get. What I say that she could walk away is that every other case of a get, right, a woman has no choice, right? Theoretically, this is an exception that a girl who was taken in marriage prior to being an adult, when she becomes an adult, she can turn around and say, I want a get. And the husband has to give her a get. So the power is in her hand. You understand?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's not a matrimonial thing. It's a monetary, temporary rich facilitation. And we have a rule. From monetary law, we don't learn to prohibitory law. No. Right. By the way, later on, we're going to be dealing with these kind of gemaras all the way to Daf Yud for the next 5 dafim. Today is Daf Yud, by the way, I believe. Today is Daf Yud, right? We're going to be dealing with it. We're 5 dafim behind. We're still 5 dafim behind. The bottom line of it is, a lot of this is going to be theoretical. This is what's great about this is that you're watching the theory come to evolve. Not because it's actual, because we're going to get to later on, we're going to talk about cohabitation, which we have never married with cohabitation. We've never used cohabitation as a way of marriage. Okay? But the Gemara is going to go into it intrinsic, like this. It was. I'm saying, yeah, but I'm saying, in fact, it just never was prevalent. It was never prevalent, right? The point here is, we go into it anyways because it's there. It's the law, even though it's not. Again, this week's parsha is the perfect example. You know that we have the law of the Ben Saira Myra, right? The wayward child. It never happened. I explained it yesterday. It never happened. That's not the point. There is something to learn out of the very essence of the law. That's what we're doing here. And you're going to see, and much of it is because, again, and it needs to be sledgehammered home, we are dealing in Kiddushin like we dealt in the last Masechta in Gerushin, marriage and divorce, which are matrimonial prohibitionary law. But how are they being affected? With something that's a monetary instrument. Get with a document. Marriage, at least 2 pieces, money or the shava kesef, something of value, and a document. So we are merging, as it were, prohibitionary law with monetary law, even though we don't learn out monetary law from prohibitionary law. There's a tension that's flowing through. And that tension always needs to be addressed as we go through. Okay? Yeah.
I don't just pull it up now because of that. But why not? If he's bringing it to that, why would we assume that chuppah also that there's to be consent?
Because we learned before, anything to do with marriage requires her consent. So that's an outside. Again, At least right now where we stand now. Let's keep going. Okay. Amar Rava, Shnei Tshuvas B'Dava. Okay, I can rebut this two different ways. Choda, the Shloish Titnan, V'Dalad Loitanan. In our Mishnah, but everybody just go back to Beis Amid Aleph. And how does our Masechta begin? Ha'isha Niknis, a woman is acquired, Bishloisha Derachim, with 3 ways, right? Does it say 4 ways or does it say 3 ways? Well, the last time I checked, Kesef, Star, and Bia. And not Chopper. Great question. Hey, Jeff, welcome back. How you feeling?
Better, thank you.
Good. We're holding 5B2.
Got it.
Okay.
No, I've been listening.
Okay, by the way, Jerry's back on. So
I saw him, yeah.
The boys are back. Okay, so that's the first question. How can you, just because chuppah completes Nesuin, what gives you this thought that just because chuppah is the bridge from Erisin to Nesuin, that it can actually facilitate the first step of Erisin Kiddushin, right? Klum chuppah goimeris el al yedei Kiddushin. Chuppah completes Nesuin when it's preceded by Kiddushin. I'm in Erisin, and now it moves forward. Can we deduce the capacity of Kiddushin, which is not of chuppah, which is not preceded by Kiddushin, from the very fact that chuppah works, that now we already have an established of the first step of marriage, and chuppah is merely being used to drag her out of her father's jurisdiction completely and put him under his own roof? Who says that in the first step you could create the first step of creating the Kiddushin? So Zok Gemara, in many ways, is asking, remember, because chuppah, again, is this unbelievably opaque thing.
Yeah, because we said chuppah is goymer.
Right.
Ends.
Yeah, but
you cannot end.
Okay, but let me ask you, how do you know that?
What?
How do we know chuppah ends? We don't. We haven't even said where.
Well, if it doesn't end, then it's the same as
Okay,
Kiddushin.
let me ask you the flip side. What is chuppah? Where did it come from? The answer is, I found an analogy that Yitzchak brought her underneath the tent. But if you're asking me where beferish it says anywhere about chuppah,
It's probably a look from Messina.
but the Gemara hasn't said that yet, has it? My father said it's probably coming from Moses from Mount Sinai, but it could very well be all of this. By the way, I'm not discounting any of this. That may be what again. That's a very good point, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu married us. What do we say when we put on tefillin? Let me translate it. Let me translate it in English. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you to me with righteousness, justice, kindness, and mercy. I will betroth you to me with faithfulness, and you shall know Hashem. And you know what you know, v'yadates Hashem? That lashon is a lashon of Nisuin. What happened? The Adam Yoda Eschana, and Adam got to know Eve. Every time the Torah wants to talk about Tashmish, what does it say in its beautiful language? Yoda. What do we say every morning? I will betroth you. Next time you put on tefillin tomorrow, pause, please, before you say, I've only been trying to catch up with the Tafani. Stop for a second and read the words in English. It is absolutely glorious.
This comes from what? From Yeshayahu?
This is from, I believe it's Yeshayahu. If I'm gonna, it's Hosea. Hosea, no, the last note. I will betroth you to me forever, and you will know Hashem. You will know Hashem. We moved from Erisin to what? The Kiddushin.
So that was
From Erisin to the Surah.
the very top one. The Gemara says, "Chuppah should go married."
Yeah, I know that.
You cannot be going there.
I grant it. I'm only asking from Van Weissman. But again, we don't know that. See, my father is saying what is almost certainly the emes, that it's halacha l'Moshe Messinai, that it's the honor. But all of this, I'm saying it's from Yitzchak, right? Bringing you up. But everything we've just said is could be true, but we're not allowed to say halacha l'Moshe Messinai unless it's transmitted to us that it came down from Moshe Messinai. And we haven't seen that yet in the Gemara, have we? Those words. So we really, like I said at the beginning, this is opaque. Chuppah is opaque. It's remarkable. It's the big thing in the chasana, and it's the thing that's least understood. Okay? Now, Amalei Abaya, how to come a Gimel, Tanan, Vidalid, Loy Tanan. This is, you said only 3 are stated in our mission. Kesef, Shtar, and Bia, and 4 are not stated. Tana Milsa Dixiva Bahadikani. The Mishnah only mentions those things that are written explicitly in the Torah, right? Right? Milsa de like Siva Behed, you like Gabi. Things that are not written explicitly in the Torah. We're learning it out of Yitzchak, we're learning it from the Nane Akavai, right? All of those things. The Ka'amrin, and therefore, Klum Chuppah Gemeris Ela Yidei Kiddushin. And this that you said, that Chuppah only completes what was already begun with Erisin and Kiddushin, to complete it, to take her completely out of her father's auspices into the husband's auspices with Nesuid. Rav Huna Nami Hachikam. This is what Rav Huna says. Ma Kesef. Sheina Goima Acher Kesef. Now, money which is unable to complete Nisuin after it affects Kiddushin. Money, the ring, affects Erisin. Kiddushin. It's called Kiddushin. It only affects the first step of marriage. It doesn't affect the second step of marriage. Right? And by us, it's done the same. That's money.
Today we do it simultaneously under the chuppah.
We're doing everything together.
The ring on the girl, that's Kiddushin.
That's Erisin, in other words.
And then after that, when you say Ariat Mekudeshes,
no, Mekudeshes. Mekudeshes is only Erisin. No, I'll tell you how it works. Go under the thing. If you ever listen to the rabbi, in Hebrew especially, when they put on the ring, they go, Hareya Mekudeshes Liba Tabasu Kedas Moshe Yisrael, and he goes, Mekudesh, you're sanctified. Or Mazel Tov Mekudesh, that's real married. The rest of it is fluff. Okay? Wait. We've just created Eris. Now, when he takes her by the hand, okay, as in most cases, for the first time, he takes her by the hand after he breaks the glass and starts leading her out of the chuppah. That's now you've just done chuppah. You've taken possession. And then you go to the yichud room. And the yichud room, no, but let me just finish the thought. The yichud room finishes it up. Be a yip. What do you mean? Let's say she's a nida. That's not the issue. So let me tell you. Let me give you guys an halach. As you know, the great Chassam Sofer, the holy Chassam Sofer, the light from the east, made a rule on the Arba Artsias, on the 4 lands, the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and Romania. Okay? Eastern Europe, as we would call it. Otherwise known as the Zibbenberg 7 mountains, the Carpathian Mountains, etc., leading down to Mount Rush. Just, okay? Our world, my world. The Holy Chassam Sofer said that a woman, after she's married, has to shave her hair. This is where it came from. For many reasons, partly because problems with going to the mikveh in those days, you can't be sure if the woman's hair went all the way down. there was problems of lice, and for a million other reasons having to do with esoterically with the Zayar, etc. Nonetheless, do you know when she shaves her head? When the Hasidim who still do it, which is less and less every year, but the Hasidim who still shave the hair, still follow that Gezerah. It's the morning after the marriage. You know why? Because when is Nisuin taking place? The first night of marriage. That first time, she's going from Eris and Kiddushin to Nisuin. She keeps her hair. It's only when she's a full-fledged wife. Because says the halacha that even if they don't do anything, that her hair is shaved. Because the chazaka, her assumption has changed from a besula to a bu'ula, from a virgin to a non-virgin. Even if nothing took place, listen to me, even if nothing took place.
Yeah, but why did she come out with
I'm about to say, even if nothing took place, her chazaka, her assumption has changed. Everything is about assumptions. Nobody has to know your personal business.
Yichud room is for that given amount of time.
It's got to be meant a given amount of time. Fine, but okay. So there are some, the Litvaks and the real Hasidim. She puts on her sheitel before she comes out of the yichud. You know that. There are plenty. Now that's the reason. We hold, the middle, the Hungarian middle, okay? That means that a Hasidish, without being Hasidim, and that affected everybody else, us, we do not put on a sheitel. However, my youngest sister Gitti, if you remember, David's family is more Litvish than us.
Because
And they held that she has to put on a sheitel. Now she's married to my brother-in-law, right? She put on a sheitel in the yichud. But my daughters, for an example, my daughters, for an example, did not. Even though one of them certainly married a Litvak, a Chofetz Chaim Talmud, right? But they were dealing with my family. And I wasn't letting it get anywhere. I said, tomorrow, she goes with a sheitel. Today, she can still go with her hair. Why?
Because the real is it not?
Because the assumption is the yichud room is only private. Nothing's happening in the yichud. It is. It's not a look. The real halachic binding. But by the time we finish the yichud room, she's married. The assumption is by the morning.
But it's the act that does the.
No, it doesn't, because there's no witnesses.
No, let's say this
not a factor.
Heard what I just said?
like a bull, even so,
Even if nothing happens.
because
No, but you don't hear what I'm saying. What happens at night in the bedroom? There are no witnesses. So that has nothing to do with it. You know when a marriage is? That's an assumption. That is an assumption. No, I understand it. That has to do with the here. It's only Shiloh. It's got nothing to do with marriage. By the time she leaves the yichud room, she's fully married. Fully married. That's why the 8-day yichud, believe it or not, those two guys standing outside the door, they are the second most important witnesses. There's only 6 people that are necessary. The boy and the girl, the 8-day Kiddushin, the witnesses to the Kiddush, to the Erison underneath the chuppah, and the 2 witnesses that are standing outside the door. Do you all know what happens when those witnesses come before they go into the yichud room? They check the room. They look in the closet. They look under the table. Make sure nobody, quote unquote, is hiding in there. Once they do that, they go, and then the door is locked.
They have before different ways.
No, it could be the same witnesses. Yeah, it could be the same witnesses. 2 different acts of witnessing. Yeah, we do 4 more because it gives everybody more kibudim, more kavod. All right, let's keep moving over here because I want to get us to the above. What? Yeah, you have the. I remember I sent on the group. It has the Boca. You see it there? It's in. You know the Boca. Our chat. You see the. You see the. What do you call it? No, no, no. That's go. The YouTube is that he's going to be downloading it. But if you want to get onto it right now, yeah, that. Yep. Go ahead. Very good. Here we go. Baruch Tia, have a great day. Okay, so we go like this. Just like money can only facilitate erisin, but can't facilitate nesuin. Kaina is nonetheless kaina. Chuppah shegemera at achas kesef. The achas kesef, the chuppah that does complete nesuin after money affected kiddushin. Ain't a din shetikna is it not? Is it not? It does not make sense that it also affects the first step of marriage. Tanu rabbanan. Ketzad bekesef. How is Kiddushin brought about through money? Which Ben was your question. Nasan la kesef oish. Read the next words. Oishava kesef. If the man gave the woman money or an item worth money, welcome to the ring. Va'amalah, and he says to her the famous magic words, Harei at mikudeshes li. Hareyat muresis li. Hareyat li intuya. Behold, you are a wife to me. What's the halacha on 5b3? Harei zu mikudeshes. Mazel tov. Right, mikudeshes, daddy. Erison, not nesuin. So the ring facilitates what? Erison, thank you. Avol he shanosna. But if she gives him money, gives it to him, the woman, they're trying to have a modern wedding. To ask Ben, Ben says, how come only she gets a ring? How come I don't get a ring? Right? Va'amrahi, hareini mikudeshes lach. I am betrothed to you. Hareini mureses lach. I am betrothed to you. Hareini li into. I am for you a wife. Einai mikudeshes. She's not mikudeshes because the pasuk says, ki yikach ish es isha, when a man takes a woman. That's how this works. Maskevlora, we talked about it back 2 days ago. Maskevlora Papa. Tom. It seems that. Sorry, give me 1 second. Finish up, and then I will deal with this. Okay, we'll finish up in 5 minutes. Let's just get to Vav Amid Aleph because that's what it's going to say on the YouTube. Here we go. Because where he gave the money and he announced it, but where he gave the money, but she makes the declaration of Kiddushin. They're trying to be very modern, Ben. But look at the second clause. But in a case where she gave the money to him and she said, Lo yavi Kiddushin. Tama de nosan hi v'amrahi. It's because she gave and she said, Ha nosan hu v'amrahi. But that means in the case where he gives the money and she says, it seems to say havi Kiddushin, that it is marriage. Zal says the Gemara, Reisha dafka, v'seifa kedei nisva. Reisha is meant unequivocally. The second clause is incidental. Since the first case is the essence, in other words, whenever the wife speaks, it's invalid. Okay, now don't go home and tell your wife, whenever you speak, it's invalid, because you will get shot. Jeff, I hope Reggie's not listening to this last piece of Gemara. Okay,
Doors are closed.
very good. But why would the second clause teach something which contradicts the first clause? He gives and he says, obviously it's marriage. He gives, but she says, it's like a case where she gave and she announced it. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is the entire action has to come from him. The Iba is same in Nosanu Vamrahu, where he gives and says, Mikudeshes, obviously. Nosani Vamrahi and Mikudesh, where she gives and says, not. Nosanu Vamrahi, when he gives and she enunciates, it's uncertain whether the Kiddushin is valid, because at least he did part of the circumstance, and therefore, since we're not sure, we play it safe. Omar Shmuel, the Kiddushin nosan lo kesef v'shava kesef. When it comes to Kiddushin, a man gave a woman money or something worth money. Here, 5b4, v'omar lo. And he said to her, Harei at mikudeshes, behold, you are mikudeshes, you are engaged. Harei at mureses, Harei at liyintu, you're my wife. Harei zu mikudeshes, they're married. But if he says, Harei ishtech, I am your spouse. Harei di balei, I am, sorry about this. Apologies. Behold, I am your husband, Hareni Arusech, I am your oras, Enkan Beis Mechush. There's nothing here. Right? It's nothing. The same the Gerushin. It goes the other way. Nothing Allah. He gave to her and he said to her, Hareyat Mishuleches, you're sent away, Hareyat Mikureshes, you're divorced, Hareyat Muteres Chaladom, you permitted to all men, Hareyat Mikureshes, they're divorced. If he says, Eine Ishech, I'm not your spouse, Eine Balech, I'm not your husband, Eine Arusech, I'm not your Arus, Ein Kam Beis Malchus, it's not a divorce. Because that's not the way it works. Dr. Gemara, Amalei Rapapa La Abaya, Lamema de Saba Shmuel Yedayim Shaina Mechichas Habi Yedayim, that Shmuel holds that handles to words, meaning things that are a little ambiguous, are considered okay. Dr. Gemara Tanamba, we learned in a Mishnah, and this Mishnah was right at the beginning of Nazir. We learned this a few Masechtas back. Ha'aymer Aha. If a person says, I shall be, Hareze Nazi becomes a Nazareth. Vahababa, we ask, Dilma Aha B'Taitis come, maybe it means fasting. It means that Nazir is passing in front of him. Tama de Nazir, Shmuel saying this because it's clearly that a Nazir is passing. He says like that guy. Halav Hachi, Loi, it's nothing. So you see, he holds Yadayim Shenim Achichas, Loi, Haba Yadayim. Ambiguous wording is not considered what you call a valid abbreviation. He says you are betrothed to me. Well, that's obvious. Of course the Kiddushin is good. That's the formula. Hani, says the Gemara, now we're on Fabam and Aleph, and we're going to stop here in about a minute. Okay, we're just going to get to a spot on this page. Lishni Basrei Kamashmalan. The last expression of Kiddushin or divorce, Shmuel has informed us, he has taught us, I am your husband, or I am not your husband, is not valid. Hachiksiv, ki yikach, when a man takes a wife, v'loi sheyikach esatzmai, not that he should give himself away to her. V'hachiksiv, v'shilcha, and he sent her away by divorce. Not that he sends him away. This is very similar to the Eibishter. The Eibishter said, Ezu Sefer Krisa Shirachsati. Where's the divorce that I gave you? When Adam Arishan, the first man, did the Aveir of the Eitz Hadas, Hashem comes into the garden, as it were, and Adam is hiding. What does Hashem say? Ayeko, where are you? When a person does an Aveira, who goes away from who? Does Hashem go away from the person, or does the person go away from Hashem? Hashem says, I'm here. I am here. You are not here. You went away. That's what it's saying over here. Same thing. When you say, you can't send yourself away. You have to send her away. And Hashem says, I never sent you guys away. You're always married. We're always married. We are betrothed forever. That's what we put on our fingers. We began. Tanu Rabbanan, we're just going to the Bailu. Tanu Rabbanan, Hareyat Ishti, you are my wife. Hareyat Urasi, you are my betrothed. Hareyat Kunali, you are my acquirement. Mikudeshes. Hareyat Shali, you are mine. Hareyat Bereshusi, you are in my jurisdiction. Hareyat Zukikali, you are bound to me. Mikudeshes, you're also married. But listening, Kulav Kichada. So let's teach that all one. Why do you have to say twice in the middle of it? Mikudeshes. Tana Talat Shalash Shemini Gersai. Well, they taught it in groups of 3. Very good. A boilu, and here's the last one. Miyuchedes limau. What if he says you are singled out for me? Muyedes limau. You are designated for me. Esrosimau. You are my helpmate. Nigdosimau. You are my counterpart. Atsurosimau. You are my gathered one. Tzalosimau. You are my rib. You're my missing rib. Sigurimar. You are my closed one. Tachteumar. You are my replacement. Tipshoumar. You are my seized one. Lakachtimar. You are my taken one. Says I can answer one of them. You are my taken one. Harezu mikudeshes. You are betrothed. Mishum shnema ki yikach ish isha. Very good. We made it on to Baba with Aleph, and tomorrow hopefully we will take the bye guys. Have a wonderful day. Yeah.
Thank you,
pretty much.
Yisar.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye, Jerry. How are you doing?
Okay, how you doing? You not feeling well?
No, I don't know. Too much air conditioning, too much difference in outside, inside. I don't know. I got another one of those colds, so I thought I'll just stay home for a couple of days. I don't want to go to school and give it to everybody.
Don't feel bad that you didn't play too much golf this summer. Up here, lots and lots of rains. You get
Uh-huh.
onto the fairway, and all of a sudden, you're not only the ball is wet and your clubs are wet, but you're sinking into the fairway.
Well, it was, I mean, there were some days it was like gorgeous, and then all of a sudden it just starts pouring out of nowhere. And the other
Right.
weather reports, are way off. But how you been doing? Okay?
Okay, we're actually going to start driving on Sunday. We'll be back in Boca by Tuesday night if everything works out fine. And then we'll be there until the 18th. And the 18th of September, we fly to Israel for the month.
Yeah, that should be, so you'll be there for the holidays.
We'll be there for Yom Kippur through a week after Sukkot. But Rosh Hashanah will be in Boca.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Okay. Well, we'd certainly look forward to seeing you and showing.
Okie dokie. Very
Okay,
good.
take
Good
care. You
visit.
look good. You
Bye-bye.
got some nice color and you look well rested.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.